Whispers from the universe. Through moments we call coincidences, through people we meet at the exact right time, through the angel numbers that show up when our hearts need reassurance, through the closed doors that lead us to the open ones we were always meant to walk through. I didn't always recognize these whispers. For a long time, I thought missed opportunities were failures, when really they were redirections. I remember once applying for a senior job in the NHS. I wanted it badly. It was close to home, closer to family, and I imagined how perfect it would be. But I didn't get it. I was crushed, angry, unable to understand why it slipped through my fingers. What I couldn't see then was that life was already arranging something better. I carried on, took another role in London, and eventually found myself working alongside the very people in the department where I'd once been rejected. And when the time came, the woman who had been given my job, well, the job I wanted, became the one who offered me a consultant role, a role that gave me freedom, better hours, and space to live my life the way I'd asked for. The job I thought I wanted would have kept me trapped, stressed, and unhappy. The whisper of the universe was clear. Not this. Something better. That's the thing about whispers. They don't always sound like what we want to hear in the moment. Sometimes they come disguised as disappointment, only to reveal themselves later as alignment. Another time, I was anxious, showing people around properties, stressed that the right tenant wasn't coming. My chest was tight, my thoughts racing. And then, in the middle of my worry, I glanced down at my phone. The numbers had lined up perfectly, 1110. Numbers of alignment, numbers of synchronicity, numbers that said, you are guided, you are protected, everything is unfolding as it should. In that moment, I smiled. The tension eased, because I remembered I wasn't alone. The universe was whispering reassurance right there on my screen. These are the whispers, and they're always there. The problem is we filter them out. We're so focused on the noise, the chaos, the endless doing, that we miss the gentle nudge, the subtle sign, the coincidence that isn't really a coincidence at all. But when we soften, when we allow ourselves to notice, life becomes full of guidance, and each whisper reminds us, you are exactly where you're meant to be. Chapter 1. Ancient Whispers. Long before the noise of modern life, people lived in rhythm with whispers. They looked to the stars, the wind, the earth beneath their feet, and they listened. The sky was not just sky, it was a map. The river was not just water, it carried stories. Every sign in nature, every dream, every symbol held meaning. Our ancestors knew how to read the world. In African traditions, whispers were carried through ancestors, the voices of those who came before, guiding those who came after. Voodoo, for example, is so often misunderstood and feared, but at its core, it is about connection to ancestors, to spirit, to the unseen forces of life. These weren't superstitions, they were systems of wisdom, ancient whispers passed down in rituals, rhythms, and remembrance. Other traditions carried their whispers too. In Buddhism, silence itself became a language, a reminder that the truth could be heard in stillness, in meditation, in the breath. In the Bible, time and time again, people were led by dreams, visions, and signs. Joseph interpreting Pharaoh's dream, wise men following a star, prophets who heard the still, small voice of God. These were whispers guiding a path forward, long before logic and reason became the only compass. Numbers carried meaning across cultures. In ancient times, numerology was seen as a divine code. Today we call them angel numbers, sequences that appear on clocks, receipts, car plates, 111, 222, 444. To many they're just digits, but for those who listen they are reminders. You are aligned, you are supported, you are seen. Every number becomes a whisper from the universe. And then there are the signs we can't explain but can't ignore. I used to see spiders. I would wake up startled, convinced one had leapt in front of me, only to find there was no spider at all. It was not about fear, but about presence, a message that life was weaving something, reminding me to pay attention. Whispers don't always come in words. Sometimes they come in sensations, in visions, in symbols, and when they do, they ask us to trust, not to dismiss. Animals too have always known this. Watch a bird just before the rain. Notice how cats, dogs, even insects sense an earthquake before the ground moves. Their survival depends on listening. Their senses are alive. Humans too were once that connected, feeling changes in the air, the mood of the land, the pulse of the earth. But in the rush of our world, many of us have forgotten how to sense, how to trust. We call intuition just a feeling, but intuition is the whisper of wisdom through the body. It is our oldest language. Chapter 2. Everyday Synchronicities. The universe doesn't only speak through the big signs. Often it's the smaller threads that weave the story of our lives. Synchronicities that at first glance look ordinary, but when you look closer, you see the hand of alignment. Sometimes it comes through people. A stranger you meet becomes a friend. A friend shares knowledge that later becomes the key you needed. A conversation in passing ends up opening a door years later. Someone enters your life and teaches you something you don't yet realize you'll need until the day arrives when that very piece of wisdom carries you forward. These are not accidents. These are whispers at work. And sometimes synchronicity shows itself in rejection. I remember when I was trying to get back into work. I applied for job after job in the NHS. Every time I made it to the final 2, but I was never chosen. I felt frustrated, rejected, even lost, until one day I stopped and asked the universe, what am I meant to be doing? The answer came, not in a job offer, but in a redirection, a friend returning to drama school, conversations that stirred something I thought I had buried. Slowly the whispers pointed me back to creativity, to my passion, to acting. What felt like rejection was really realignment. The universe was saying, not here, this way, and that change became one of the best decisions of my life. This is why I believe there are no wasted encounters. Every person who crosses your path is a thread in the weaving of your life. Some stay for a season, some for years, some for only a moment, but all carry meaning. All are whispers. And then there are the whispers of nature itself. Once in the Caribbean, a woman told me, "You always know when the rain is coming." I nodded and said, "Yes, you can see the clouds." She smiled and said, "Not just the clouds. Watch the birds, feel the air, notice the shift in the atmosphere, and you will not only know when the rain is coming, but what kind of rain it will be." That is wisdom we've almost forgotten. The ability to feel, to sense, to listen to what the world is telling us. Nature whispers too, if only we notice. This is what synchronicity really is. The pattern beneath the surface, the alignment behind the ordinary. When you stop dismissing it as chance, you begin to see the threads. The universe is always weaving on your behalf, always whispering, here, now, this way. Chapter 3. Practical steps. Now, let us move from listening into aligning. These affirmations, reflections, and simple practices will help you hear the whispers more clearly. Mantras and affirmations are not just words, they are reminders. When you repeat them with intention, they shift your focus, calm your mind, and tune your attention back to what matters. They are like anchors, bringing you into alignment with the universe. Here's a simple practice you can try. Close your eyes and think back over the last 24 hours. Ask yourself, what was one coincidence, one unexpected moment, one word, number, or encounter that stood out? Don't overthink it. Just notice. That is a whisper. This exercise trains your mind to pay attention, and the more you notice one thing each day, the more you'll begin to see that synchronicities are always there. Now let's bring in affirmations. These will retrain your filter. Instead of seeing obstacles, you begin to see whispers. Repeat these with me now. I am open to divine whispers. Every synchronicity is guiding me closer to my purpose. Every step I take is aligned with my highest good. I release resistance and welcome divine timing. I notice, I listen, I receive, and here are some simple tools you can practice. Pause daily, even for 1 or 2 minutes. Stillness softens the noise so you can sense the subtle. Keep a synchronicity journal. Write down coincidences, repeated numbers, names, or symbols. The threads will reveal themselves. Follow the energy. Notice what conversations or people light you up. They are usually whispers pulling you forward. Trust random thoughts. When someone comes to mind or you feel nudged to change direction, follow it. Use your senses. Goosebumps, a shift in the air, a strong gut feeling. They are your body hearing whispers your mind ignores. These are not grand rituals. They are simple practices of paying attention, and the more you practice, the louder the whispers become. The universe is never silent. It is always weaving, always guiding, always whispering. Through the people you meet, the doors that close, the numbers that appear, the conversations that arrive at just the right time. The only question is, are you listening? Today, notice one whisper, just one. Pay attention to a conversation, a number, a feeling, a small alignment. Write it down. Hold it in your heart. Because once you notice one, you'll begin to notice another and another. And soon you'll see that life has been speaking to you all along. Remember, synchronicity is not luck. It is alignment. The universe reminding you that you are guided, that you are not alone, that you are already on the path of becoming. Trust what you hear. Trust what you feel. Trust what arrives in perfect timing. The whispers are for you. And as you leave this space, carry this affirmation with you. I notice. I listen. I receive. If you liked what you've heard, make sure to subscribe, follow, like, and share. You can explore more with my books, Words Have Power, Affirmations and Mantras, and Manifesting Your Destiny, available on Amazon. And don't forget, you can get free resources to support your journey at my website, elevateyourintentions.co.uk. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.